thank you so much for being here. And I am so excited to be here with Chuck Wells today. Chuck is one of my favorite people in Oklahoma City. And he's the kind that also makes me completely comfortable because he's like, I can introduce myself. I can do this. I can. So really, Chuck has staged a takeover today. And I couldn't be more excited to learn from this great man. Chuck, have at it.
All right, guys, just to catch up a little bit, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. So I've been licensed since 2001, so 19 years, knocking on that door of 20 years. Missy earlier said, how the heck is that possible? I said, well, I'm 52, and so that was a learning moment there. She found out something about me. I've done everything in my real estate history, from being a solo agent to being a buyer specialist with a team, back to a solo agent, part-time through the years of adopting my daughter, and I'm going to share a little bit about that here in a little bit. Back to full-time and ramping back up. I've been a mentor. I've been a productivity coach the last 4 years. And then just recently, second week of March, as I made a career change, and my license is still active with Keller Williams, and I've aligned with a national coaching company called The Locker Room, and I'm an area director for the state of Oklahoma. And our mission as an area director is I actually partner with local independent brokerages to support them through educational modules, their growth, their profitability, things of that nature. So that's my business history and in a little bit of a nutshell. And I wanted to start off because this was one of the kind of the questions I had in my mind when I began reading chapter 10 is how does chapter 10 differ from chapter 6? And if you remember back, chapter 6 was doing whatever it takes. And then chapter 10 is never quitting. And so this is my understanding. I'm going to offer this to you. Doing whatever it takes is being resourceful. It's, the grunt work. It's following a budget. Or if there's not a budget, it's everyone chipping in and doing their part to stay afloat. And then the never quitting, to me, is more of that determination, that grit, that commitment, and not only sticking to your word, but the commitment that you set out for. You're committed to someone else, or more than that, anything, you're committed to yourself. And so we all have things that we desire in life, and so it's just honoring that commitment to yourself. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions throughout this time that we have together, because I really want this to be a little bit of a journey for you guys as well today. So what are you doing right now? What is something going on in your life right now, or that like you really just want to throw your hands in the air and quit? Oh my gosh, I saw eye rolls. I saw some heads go back. I hit some chords, right?
Like, do you want us to answer, or are you just thinking?
In your own head, in your own heart, answer for yourself. Or, has there been something just recently that you have quit and that, that you're holding on to? So to get us in the right mindset, I had this explained recently. I had the opportunity, Diana Kokoska did a Zoom call with our market center during the COVID shutdown. And she used this analogy, and I thought, I wrote that down. Actually, took 2 pages of notes that day. I'm like, I'm going to use that somewhere. And it surfaced for today. So I want you to think of a rubber band. And what's a rubber band's job? What's it created for? It's to hold something together, or to secure something, or hold it in place, right? And a rubber band's not doing its job until it's stretched. And typically when we as humans want to quit, what's happening? We're being stretched, right? And then as we get, things become a habit, we get a little more into a routine, that tension eases up just a little bit because it becomes more natural. Then we have to take that next step and we're stretched again. So, use that analogy in your own head of that rubber band when you're really wanting to throw your hands in the air, or there's frustration. Just know, hey, I'm growing, I'm moving, I'm taking that next step. So hopefully everyone's in a good mindset there with that rubber band story. So I want to give you a little back history on me, and I'm going to be very vulnerable here, and I trust that you will just understand what I'm going to say to you today, or this part of it. It's my story. It's not yours. And you don't have to have an opinion one way or the other of my story, because it's mine and it's what has empowered me and continues to empower me in my life. So as I was thinking through this, I was really thinking, okay, so Chuck, where have there been things in your life that you quit? And I can name a lot. I mean, I'm 52. I have a lot of life experiences. And a lot of times we hang on to those things that we quit. I was third in my class in high school, yet I never made it past my sophomore year of college. Okay, yes, I can look at that today as I quit. Do I resent that? Do I regret that? Very honestly, yes, there are at times that I do. And I can probably 98% say I wouldn't be where I am right now and have built the relationships and had the experiences and have the people in my world if my life had finished college and I had taken a different path. So do I really regret it? No. It's the accolade, because I'm one that seeks accolades. That's affirming for me, And so there is that piece. And am I going to push my daughter to go to college? You betcha, So the 4 defining moments in my life where I didn't quit and I pushed through. We're going to rewind all the way back to about 19 years old. And I have to confidently say one of the first defining moments of my life is when I made the decision to come out and be a gay male. I had dove by my choice in life deep into Southern Baptist religion and church. And there's a lot of guilt in that denomination. And so that was a struggle. Yet it was very freeing when I took that step. And when I did it my own way. I'm very fortunate, as from 20 to today, I have always been Chuck, who just happens to be gay. And in the professional world and past management jobs I've had, within Keller Williams, leadership roles I've had, I've always been me. And I have always been respected, which I am so lucky. And I've always had support of those leaders above me, which I'm very grateful for. So I have to say that was something, that was a decision. I took a stand for me. And that was the first time that I really took a firm stand in my life. And I mean, like I said, that was like at 19 years old. My second defining moment, I would say, would be during the adoption process of my daughter. And even back a little before that, let me give you a little back history. So this journey began, she's 12, this journey began 15 years ago, long before marriage equality, and in Oklahoma, as a same-sex couple looking to adopt a child. So did I have to push through? Did I have to find support? Did I have to ask for answers? Did I have to find a way? You betcha. And I was determined. I was determined in my life to be a dad. And I was determined to find those resources to make it happen. And, the part that I really wanted to throw my hands in the air and quit was prior to Presley's birth. We had been in a relationship, my partner at the time, and I said at the time, and that's another defining moment coming up. So we had been in the journey about 2 years, and we had been matched with a mother. We were matched with a mother in July of, let's see here. We were matched with a mother in July of 06. And we had kept a relationship with her over the phone. She was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where our attorney was. And we had kept a relationship with her over the phone from July to November when the baby was born. We got notice that she'd gone to the hospital. We jump in the car and we overnight it to Baton Rouge. And within 24 hours, the mom had changed her mind and we were asked to leave the hospital. And it was a women's hospital. And what was very unique with their standards was if we, especially as two men, were going to take a baby from the hospital, we had to be involved with that baby in the nursery. And we had to take a CPR class and we had to be there to feed the baby. They really wanted to know that we were equipped to take this baby home. So we had been nurturing and involved with the baby for 24 hours prior to the mom changing her mind. Toughest moment to pack your bags and come home, basically 3 weeks before Christmas. There had already been baby showers, their friends, family support, everything. So you're talking about, really having to soul search and financially search of where do I go from here? So we basically told our attorney at the time, we said, don't bother us. Give us a couple months. Don't bother us. Let us regroup and decide what we want to do. So we called him back up and said, okay, we're ready. And he had, 2 or 3 moms. He would call and he'd say, hey, I need to talk to you. He said, I have a mom that wants to talk to you guys. That your home's not a home they've considered before, so they just want to interview you. We're like, no. I mean, we were guarded. We had been hurt, and we're like, if someone's not 100% confident that we're a match or could be a match, we don't want to have the conversation. And then lo and behold, about April of 2007, Presley's mom reached out to our attorney's office. She was thrilled to have a same-sex couple. She basically was convincing us that we needed to come to Natchitoches, Louisiana and meet her over a weekend. And she wanted to show us, put us at ease and show us that she was committed to us. And July of 2007 was when Presley was born. So great, again, 2.5 years in that journey, a lot of financial heartache, a lot of emotional heartache, and yet I never quit. So fast forward a little bit, I would say another was the actual crash of my relationship. Presley was 2.5 years old. We had just reached a point, we'd been together about 8 years, we had reached a point that we were just not healthy for one another, and we were not healthy for the child, and we were headed in different directions in our life. And so we made the decision, I don't want to say I made the decision to step out of the relationship. And it was the toughest decision in my world. On a happy note there, we have co-parented amazingly together ever since. We split our week each week. We live within a couple miles of one another. We have same networks of friends. And it's been an extremely positive experience for Presley. My ex-partner partnered shortly after we split up. And I've been single for 10 years now. And so it's always been the 3 dads. And she's very confident in that we've always had the support of the educators and other families within the schools we've attended. So great, happy ending there for sure. But at that time of that separation, guys, I was 40 years old and I found myself at the lowest point in my life. I hit bottom because I was not in touch with me and where I wanted to go in life. And, to be very transparent, I checked myself into the hospital for 3 days. And just to have total silence, to regroup, to have access to a counselor, and to figure it out. That was a very tough time, and a lot of soul searching took place. And some great things that happened during that time was, one, I was able to have a spiritual relationship once again. I had turned my back on a lot of things within the church and anything associated with the church. And at 40, I was really able to define and figure out how to make that work for me. and in my world. And I had really, once having it back in my life, had really realized what I was missing and what I had just, turned my back on, so to speak, by my own choosing. I was never cast out of the church or anything like that. It was just, here I am, these two things aren't going to work in life. And yet they do, they really do. So fast forward, over the last, say, couple of years, another defining moment. Those of you that are with Keller Williams, you know what BOLD is, and you know what BOLD coaches are. So I'd had some very impactful BOLD coaches in my life, and they basically kept putting the bug in my ear to audition to be a BOLD coach. And so we're in 2020. So in 2018, I went to Austin to audition. Craziest experience I've ever been in my life. I didn't know what to expect. Even after leaving there, and I'm sure I kind of still don't understand what happened. Like it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was, and I wanted to quit. I mean, because I didn't succeed. It didn't play out. And I thought, God, who am I to put myself back through that again? I mean, it's like an interrogation. This is a safe environment here. I learned that any type of feedback, any words can be given to you in the name of coaching and feedback. And like, it's blunt, it's tough. And so, I had friends that were like, are you going back? Are you going back? And I'm like, no, my journey's taking me elsewhere, and I had this one friend, a really close friend, and we volunteer time in the pageant world for teen scholarship pageants. And she looked me straight in the eye one day and she said, Chuck Wells, do you ever tell a girl that is starting pageantry to have the expectation of winning the first time she goes? I said, no, not at all. She's like, how the hell can you expect, pardon my French, this is Lisi's quote, how can you expect to go to Austin and win the first time? Don't you feel you have to learn what it's about so you know what to be next time you show up? I'm like, yes. So went back in 2018, basically same time of the year. So last year, this time, week after week after week, I was traveling because of the 7 sessions of BOLD. As a redshirt, you go under a different coach, and you basically present part of their day, and they critique you and they give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if you get the thumbs up, you keep going. I was all the way into the last week. I was all the way to the 8th session, and I was in Nashville. And Missy, Stephanie, gosh, you guys were on my text last year. I'd be like, green light, and it was just clicking along week after week. And it's all on your own dollar. It's all on your own hour. And guys, I was spending like 12 hours a weekend because as productivity coach, I couldn't study during the week. And it wasn't clicking to do it during the week. And so I was doing it on the weekend. I would spend like 12 hours on the weekend studying that week's materials, and then go off and present next week all over again. And so I got to the last week in Nashville, and I got the thumbs down. He said, I won't name names. Then there's no hard feelings. He's just like, not yet, not a no, but just not yet, not right now. So what that meant was come home, regroup, and I was to hit the road again within a week and start the whole 8 weeks back over. I was mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, financially exhausted. And I went to my team leader at my market center and I said, how do I tell them not right now? And she's like, Chuck, I don't see any possible way that you can, it's all going to seem like an excuse. It's all going to seem like a lack of commitment. It's going to seem like you're weak. I just don't know. And I said, well, all I can do is say what's on my heart. And I said, things at the market center here are suffering, things in life are suffering, and I just need an opportunity to regroup. So I bought time. They gave me the time to regroup. And within a couple of weeks, I sent a letter resigning from the program and just said, thank you. It's been a great learning opportunity. And guys, I really stepped back and I was just like, you know, sometimes we get so caught up on the path, and until you're stopped or until you hit a roadblock, sometimes we don't even stop to think. And I spent a couple of weeks just soul searching of, why am I chasing this? What is it about this I'm chasing? And what I loved about being a bold coach was pouring into others. I love presenting. I love pouring into others. And couldn't I do that right here at home and not travel? Yeah. And at the same time, it was an accolade. It was something affirming. And I'm like, Chuck, when in life are you gonna get over having to have something affirming from someone else? Like, if this isn't in your heart, stop. Figure out a way that you can do this, you know, at home. And then there was another piece. I mentioned I'd been single for 10 years. You know, those of you that have been single for a long period of time later in life, possibly, it can get really lonely. And I have great friends and, you know, I have great family, and there's still just that piece I was missing. Yeah, I was not going to sacrifice. I was not going to settle. And it's a pretty limited pool to pick from in Oklahoma City at times. So there was just still that hope of, okay, yes, I would like that back in my life. And Chuck, if you're on the road traveling as a bold coach, month after month, week after week, is there really time in your life for that? So I regrouped. That's when I turned in my, basically my resignation, told them I wouldn't be coming back to audition, and just started looking inwardly. And so all of late 19 was really a lot of inward work and journaling. I didn't read any business books. They were all self-care books. They were all motivational books. I just started working on me. Spiritual, it was in there as well. And so I'm happy to say those are 4 really defining moments. I trust that somewhere in there, there's a nugget you can relate to, or that you've experienced something similar. And the happy ending to it, you know, really is the opportunity presented itself to me to be area director for Oklahoma with the locker room that I am now. November, I met someone that I'm in an amazing relationship, 6 months now.
I think you're blushing.
Right. And so, you know, sometimes in the moment we don't understand, yet to me, that's when you have to take a step back, and you're not quitting, you're just assessing and counter correcting, and you keep going and you keep going, you know? So we're at 12:39. I would like to save 3 minutes here at the end because I want to take you on a personal exercise. I'm pulling my notes up here. One of the things, let's take this back to Mo for just a little bit. I would like some of this to make, I guess, be applicable to some things we know in our Keller Williams world. You've all heard of the E to P model, correct? Entrepreneurial to purposeful? Seeing some head nods. Is it fair to say that when Mo had, she was in her office here in Oklahoma City, and then she sold that office, then she opened the 2 market centers. Is it okay to say that she was really in her entrepreneurial self, her world? It's what she knew. It's what was comfortable. It's what was her strength. And also, isn't it fair to say that when the door was opened for her to be considered a CEO, that really pushed her to be purposeful? And with purposeful comes along with intention. I think there has to be a tribe behind you, backing you. She had a lot of people in her tribe. She had people seeing things in her that she didn't see in herself. Even if it was just validation from a personality assessment, saying she assessed to be a CEO, it was her husband, Richard, saying, "You've got this. Who cares if you can't read financials? Someone else can. You can leverage that. You hire the people. You hire, that tribe to ensure your success." So she really took a purposeful intention there when she stepped into the role of CEO. So if there's something, you guys are considering, or you're at a roadblock and you're wanting to give up, I really challenge you to look at who's your tribe and who sees things in you that you potentially don't see in yourself, or who's just there to say, keep going, keep going. You've got to have those backers. You've got to have those backers. And you've just got to have those people cheering you on. And that's not to say that you have to, defriend people. You just silence them a little bit so that they're not as loud a voice in your ear, and you find those that are a louder voice that you can gain the energy, and the motivation from, for sure. I had Brene Brown. She's one of my fans. I love how just frank she is. And I won't forget, I've heard this 2 or 3 times. And on her Netflix special, she talks about when she first stepped into her TED Talk series. And the first time that she actually looked at comments from the public, and it floored her. It literally put her to bed of the terrible negative things that people had to say about her. There were a lot of great, yet isn't it safe to say in our world, the negative is so much more damaging and so much heavier on our hearts and our mind than the positive, and just can take our knees out from under us, so to speak. And I love, though, she said, do not listen to anyone that's not in the arena with you. So make sure your tribe consists of people that are in like worlds. They're in that arena. They're looking for growth, or they're looking for, to excel in one way or another. And more than anything, that they're positive, and encouraging, for sure. All right. Are you guys ready for me to take you on your little journey?
I'm a little nervous.
Do we have any questions or comments? I mean, we're right at like 12:43. If we can go to like 12:47, I can open up for a couple minutes here of questions or comments.
Well, I appreciate you sharing so openly about parts of your journey that are still so tender.
You're welcome. And, the reality is that's what makes us who we are today. Yeah. And when we can tap back into those emotions, that's that energy. Sometimes that's the kick in the butt that, we need today. And if nothing else, it's the validation of you've succeeded then, and you're even more equipped. Look, I mean, you've got 15 years on you of experience now. You're more equipped than you were now. What are you wallowing in the mud for,
Well, I love it. And I love how with some of your stories, some of your defining moments, the answer was to push through and don't quit. And other, like with the Bold journey, the answer was, well, maybe I'm hearing no for a reason. Maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to go. And so I love the reminder to kind of go inward and check, is this my assignment, or is this something like, what am I doing?
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, my little journey last fall to really, anyone here from New Mexico by chance? No, Stephanie originally. Last fall, I went on a solo road trip, and I love northern New Mexico, and I found a guest house up in the mountains. This European couple have 40 acres, and they have 2 guest houses. And I went, it's like everything is like they catch rainwater and recycle it. That's their water source. Everything is solar. I mean, it's off the grid. Your phone does not work. And I went and stayed there for 3 days, and hiked every day, sat and read. Like, that was my regrouping moment. And sometimes we just have to get away, from the noise.
I think it's important to remember that sometimes the no's bring us to the yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hear those no's and you think, man, that was my opportunity, that's what I know my heart wanted, sometimes that no is leading us to a much bigger yes.
Very true.
I'll share real fast.
Yes.
So I have 4 adopted girls, 2 from my first marriage, and my husband adopted 2. But I'll just say for 8 years, I tried to have my own child. And I used to pray to God every day, why are you not letting me get pregnant? And I'll never forget, after I adopted my first daughter, the country western song came on, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. And it literally became like the song of for the meaning of my life. Like, I was so meant to save these daughters. They were meant to save me. And our journey together would have never happened had I gotten pregnant. So you know, I had to go through that 8 years of miserable torture,
Mm-hmm.
but never gave up on my dream because I knew I needed to be a mom and that was what I was meant to do. So yeah, never giving up changed my life.
I love that. I love that. That's a soft space for me. It gets talking about my daughter. I had to push through that just a little bit because I can, whew, tears can flow for sure, for sure, for sure. Well, I would like you, Missy, one thing, so don't forget to ask, do you have a way to save the chats? There's tons of chats, and I'd love to go back and review those. I thought as host you could download them by chance, or Heather, if there's a way to copy and paste them into something, I'd just love to see what they say.
Now you're asking the right person. You don't want me handling any details.
All right. So guys, I want to take you on a real quick little journey. And again, you can jot this down. You can do it in your just in your mind, or you can jot it down. But I want you to think of a goal, a task, unfulfilled passion, something that's on your heart right now, something that you're wanting to complete, or you're wanting to come your way. Desiring to come your way. Maybe you're already in the mix of it. Maybe it's just a dream. Whatever it is, I just want you to think of something that first thing, that comes to mind. Okay, then what's our reality? What's today? Where are we at in achieving that? Or where, if we've already put something into place, where are we? Where are we with that dream? Now I want you to think, what are our obstacles? What's in our way? Where are we finding it difficult? And what's in our way? Is it you? Is it someone else? Missy's shaking her head there. Is it a skill set? Is it something you haven't mastered yet? Is it a lack of a skill? Or is it lack of an access to someone that could be a mentor or educate you? Like what's the obstacle there? So then we talk about, this is the GROW model. And so the W is the way forward. So where from here? How do we take action? How do we implement and take action, in the next 24 hours, in the next 30 days? And what is it that we need to take action? Is it some training? Is it a mentor? Is it time blocking and setting some time aside so that this isn't on the back burner? Is it some type of support? Is it the tribe we spoke about? I want you to really brainstorm around that. And what's the way forward? What's going to help you achieve this goal? I want to leave you on one little final thought. I really had to work myself through this, even just a couple of weeks ago. I have kept telling myself, when you achieve X amount of dollars, then you can go have fun and then you can have joy in your life. And guys, this is right about the time the book club started. Like, coincidence? No. Alignment. Alignment. The book club started all the same time this is going through my head. And one day, it's just like a light bulb. I thought, Chuck, if you have joy in your life today, then you succeed. Then you have the financial successes. Then you're able to have the things you desire. Quit punishing yourself for not being where you want to be just yet financially. Celebrate life, have joy, what makes you happy, because then you're going to be successful, both personally and financially. So, leave you with that little food for thought. And that's all I have, Missy.
Yay! Any last minute thoughts or ahas, you guys?
I thank
Thanks
you
for
guys.
sharing everything, Chuck.
You're very welcome. I thank you. Missy reached out to me. I was not slated originally. She reached out to me about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I have some spots open. And again, I got in my own way. And I was my own dream bully, if you remember the Dream Bullies segment. And I said, me? What do I have to contribute? I'm, And she's like, are you bullying yourself right now? I said, okay, what date? So here we go.
I just want to say, Chuck, you and I are friends and good friends, and I love talking to you, hearing you, because you have such a joy about you, no matter what's going on in your life, and it's infectious, and you inspire people because of that. So in spite of where we are at whatever given moment of our life, if it's positive, if it's like, ugh, it's yucky, or it's hard, or it's easy, or whatever, you have a way of bringing a joy in, as my friend, as you are to many other people. So continue on this journey. I love you so much.
Aw, thank you for filling my cup.
Yeah.
You're the man.
Chuck, the first time I met you, I think was Mo's Quantum Leap, some Oklahoma City, Tulsa, somewhere, and we were standing in line and we were waiting to get some fruit and some salad. And you were so kind to me. You didn't even know me. And I had seen you many times at Bold and different things. And you immediately just started asking me questions about me and my goals and dreams. And I just remember it was such a high level conversation. And the way that you respected me immediately without even knowing me, I just remember responding so well to that. And you stayed in my little memory bank as that's a decent human.
Aw, thank you.
Yes, he is.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you on Friday. Now, remember too, well, I doubt Mo will watch this, so I'll say it. Remember, her surgery is on Monday, and I don't know if we want to maybe post something in our group and record a quick video that we can compile and email over this weekend. Just quick 1 or 2 lines about what Mo has done for you, what her book has done for you, well wishes. What do you guys think about that idea? Should we do it?
Should we just text it to you or Heather? Are you going to put that together, Heather?
Oh, that's so funny.
Did you
Stephanie,
see how I
you've
just
got
snuck
jokes.
that in?
Seems like that's a yes.
I love that idea.
Christine?
We'll figure it out here.
Is it not possible that on Friday at the beginning of our book club that we take a few minutes and each person on the call say something and then snap or just take that part of the video
Yeah, that's a
and
good idea.
share it?
Oh, that'd be easier.
And then everybody's already here.
That'd be easier.
It'd be a whole lot easier.
Way to go, Christine. You're thinking.
I like easy.
Yep.
I like the easy.
She's your friend, Heather.
Yep.
You're the
All
best.
right, guys, we'll see you Friday then, and we'll post a reminder about that before then. So
Awesome.
thank you,
Thank you.
Chuck.
Chuck.
Thanks,
guys.
Jack.
Bye.
Thanks, Missy. Later, Gator.